Move over, Mayhem Devil. I've got your bigger, badder zombie brother, Deathbringer Thoctor. Whenever a creature dies, you put a counter on this guy, and you can remove counters to deal damage. Mono White actually has some annoying zombies. The biggest is God Eternal Catcher. You're going to make 4/4 giant zombie warriors every time you cast a white creature. Literal Revunx is going to make everybody your best friend because you're going to make a ton of zombie tokens and mill everybody and drain them for a ton of life. Everybody loves mill. Now it's time for our combo Zombo, Machias the Unhallowed. You can pair this with Triskelion and win the game on the spot. Your time is up, Archfiend of Ifnir. I've got your bigger, badder zombie brother, Noxious Ghoul. Whenever a zombie ETBs, all non-zombie creatures are going to get -1/-1. Devastate your friends and your friendships with Devastation. It destroys all creatures and all lands. They have no lands to play more creatures, therefore the game will end in the draw. Let me teach you how to stop counter spells today. It's not more counter magic, it's Price of Glory. Whenever a player taps a land for mana during another player's turn, destroy that land. They're not countering crap. Now it's time for the best card in mono red decks, Ruination. It destroys all non-basic lands. Luckily you have mountains, and your opponents probably don't. The dinosaurs didn't get taken out by an asteroid, they got taken out by wildfire. This 6-mana sorcery makes players sacrifice 4 lands and deals 4 damage to each creature. This card will make you an enemy to all of mankind. Wake of Destruction. You destroy a target land and all lands with the same name as that card. Which basic land are you choosing? I'm choosing Plains. Whatever you do, don't blink. I'm kidding. Flickering's a powerful strategy, and Broggo King Eternal makes it possible because when he deals combat damage, you have a mass flicker effect. Crypt Gas is super annoying because you don't know what deck it slots into. That Extort has a white in it. Can I run it in my black deck? You can run it in your black deck because that's just some text. Did you know spirits hate lands? That's where Deus of Calamity comes in. When it deals 6 or more damage to an opponent, you can destroy a land that player controls. Hokori Dust Drinker also hates lands. Lands don't get to untap during their controller's untap steps, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a land he or she controls. Still a little nicer than Stasis. Do you hate mana rocks? Then you'll love Kataki War's Wage. It's going to keep those mana rocks from doing anything because their controller has to pay 1 to keep them around. If you dislike Voltron strategies and don't care if your land's tapped for mana, run Maze of Ith. It's going to prevent that Voltron creature from hitting you. There's nothing more fun than messing with your opponents after their untap step. That's where Rashad and Port comes in. You're going to tap down their best land, and they're not going to get to use it. Why does nobody run Graveyard Hate? Graveyards can get out of hand and win games. That's why you need to run Scavenger Grounds. You can sack it to exile all graveyards. Sorry, Yawgmoth Will players. Have you ever been low on life about to lose the game? I've been there. That's why you run Vol the Archangel. In your Orzhov decks, you're going to gain a ton of life and get in, hopefully for lethal. Are powerful lands ruining your commander experience? Play Wasteland. You're going to take care of those non-basics in no time. Let me know, which lands will you destroy? Are you tired of go-wide tokens decks? Let's end them with Archfiend of Depravity. Our opponents will only get to keep 2 creatures and sacrifice the rest. If you love madness, you're going to love Archfiend of Ifnir. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, all of our opponent's creatures get -1/-1 counters. Good luck having a board. Naya has the most annoying demon of all, Jetmir Nexus of Revels. Who would have thought it? When this guy comes down, you know it's GG because he's a mass overrun effect that's unstoppable. Back in the distant past, Master of Cruelties was a great threat. He can make somebody's life total 1. So what I would recommend is reanimate him early to take somebody out early. If you like board wipes that don't always work, I've got one for you. Rakdos the Showstopper. When he comes in the play, you're going to flip a ton of coins for each non-demon, devil, or imp, and those creatures might get destroyed. Hopefully. Do you want your opponents to have a full board of creatures? I definitely don't, and in my vampire deck, I'll run Anwan the Rune Sage. At our upkeep, they sacrifice a non-vampire. Everything is better when it's doubled, especially loss of life. Let's do that with Bloodletter of Aclazotz. This little vampire demon's going to double the amount of life our opponents lose during our turn. They put Grave Pact on a vampire. That's Butcher of Malakir. It does the same exact thing, except this is super budget. Probably because it costs 7 mana and it's easy to remove. It's time for the best card of Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Charismatic Conqueror. This vampire is a Stax piece that's going to make us a ton of little 1/1 white vampire creature tokens. Guess what? We have more Stax pieces. We have Drena and Linvala. Activated abilities of creatures our opponents control can't be activated, and we get to steal those abilities and activate them ourselves. Allosaurus Shepherd makes sure none of your spells can be countered, and it can't be countered, and they'll turn all of your elves into dinosaurs. Dinosaurs and elves are best friends. Who wants to turn to Eldrazi? I want to turn to Eldrazi. Let's make it happen with Belby Corrupted Observer. She's going to let us cheat out big dumb spaghetti monsters super early. Move over Little Walker's secret lair. I've got the original Little Walker, Deathrite Shaman. This guy's basically a planeswalker, and he's also an elf, and he's annoying. All it takes is a Yavimaya Cradle of Growth to make Elvish Champion the most annoying elf. It's going to give all of our elves Forest Walk, therefore they're unblockable. Move over Anwan the Rune Sage. We've got your elf brother, Ruthless Winnower. Does the same thing, but for elves. Mono White craves card advantage. We've got it with Arrow Extortionist. We can remove their best threats, and whenever they play a card not from their hand, we draw a card. Move over Reprieve. I've got the real deal white counter spell, Aven Interrupter. When it ETBs, we get to exile a spell, and it also functions as a Stax piece. Ishai Ouijatai Dragon Speaker is underestimated in Commander because it gets huge every time our opponents cast a spell, and it can lead to some Commander damage knockouts. Let's turn all of our draft chaff into one-sided board wipes. We can do it with Maha at Feathers Knights. It's going to make all the creatures our opponents control have a base toughness of 1. Pyreswipe Hawk is an elemental bird that's going to let us steal our opponent's best artifacts, and if we have big artifacts, it becomes a big threat. Think of all the board wipes some mono green. There's not many, but the best is Apex Ultisaur. This big dino is going to come down, fight some creatures, and keep fighting them until it goes away. Cresting Mosasaur seems like an Eldrazi with that emerge cost, but when it enters the battlefield, it's going to return all non-dinosaur creatures to their owner's hands. Move over Atali Primal Storm. We have the upgrade, Atali Primal Conqueror. When this ETBs, you're going to steal the best cards off everybody's deck, and then you can flip it over to have a Blightsteel Colossus. It's time to go full Timmy with Gulta Stampede Tyrant. When it ETBs, you can put all the dinosaurs from your hand right on the battlefield and win the game. If you hate the Lord of the Rings hobbits that gain a ton of life, run Rampaging Ferocidon. Players can't gain life, and whenever a creature ETBs, it deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. If you consider land sacred in EDH, this is the wrong card for you. Aki Blizzard Herder. When it hits the graveyard, everybody sacrifices a land. First Strike is an underrated ability because it makes creatures hard to block, and it makes them great blockers. Bloodmark Mentor will give all of our red creatures First Strike to give us the overwhelming force. Move over Crocker. I've got the original coin flipping Goblin, Goblin Assassin. Whenever a Goblin comes into play, each player flips a coin, and if they lose the flip, they sack a creature. 1/1s are getting too powerful in Magic the Gathering. We can stop them with Goblin Sharpshooter. 1/1s can't exist with this out because you can tap the do 1 damage. Whenever a creature hits the bin, you untap it. I don't want a reflection, I want the real thing. We've got Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker. You can make a copy of your best creature and attack with it, then sacrifice it for some great dice triggers. Make your opponent sacrifice their creatures with this Edict effect on a body. That's Ashlyn the Extinguisher. When it connects, they sacrifice. End of story. Turn your direct damage spells into creature and planeswalker removal with Chandra's Incinerator. It does just that. You hit them with a lightning bolt, you lightning bolt their creatures. Move over No Mercy. I've got the bigger, badder creature version of you, Dread. Does just that. It has fear, it's a 6/6, and it's hard to remove. Do you want to put counters on your creatures like sprinkles on a cupcake? Run Forgotten Ancient. It's going to move counters all around your team, get a ton of counters from spells being cast. It's a counter machine. Do you want to steal the spell you just countered with your cancel? You can with Guile. You get that spell casted for free. It also has Super Menace. If your play group is drawing way too many cards and the value's just killing you, run Alms Collector. You're going to steal some of those draws, and everybody wins. Move over Soul Warden. I got your harder to remove brother, Auriok Champion. It's got protection from black and red, the 2 best removal colors against white, and you can't stop this. I'm gaining life like crazy. Clerics are just value pieces, right? And they hate attacking? Wrong. We got Blade Historian. He loves attacking. He gives our attacking creatures double strike to get in for that KO. If you have a token fetish like me, we got the perfect cleric, Conclave Evangelist. This elephant cleric has Myriad, and when it deals combat damage, you're going to create a token of it. You're going to have so many elephant tokens, it's going to drive you insane. Treasures have taken over Commander. It's almost ruining the game. Let's stop it with the Disciple of the Vault. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may have a target opponent lose 1 life. Are you sick of being targeted by direct damage spells? Stop it with Aegis of the Gods. It just gives you hexproof. It's a 2/1, so it can get removed easily, but you'll have hexproof. Move over Valor. I've got a better first strike option, Archetype of Courage. All of our creatures will gain first strike, and all of our opponent's creatures will lose first strike. Play groups love it when you spend 20 minutes tutoring. Let's make it a reality every turn with Captain Sisei. He's going to let you search for a legendary card, put it into your hand, and there's some real stinkers out there. Commissar Severina Rain's going to turn all of our soldiers into direct damage because when she attacks, all of our opponents lose life based on the number of attacking creatures we have, and we can sack those soldiers for value. Do you demand swift vengeance when you get attacked? You can get it with Darien, King of Keldor. When you're dealt damage, you get that many 1/1 soldier creature tokens. So they hurt you, you're going to make an army. The Monsters at Wizards have finally done it, and we're proud. They reprinted Exquisite Blood, this time as a creature, this time as a vampire. Let's go. The Master Multiblood has a new toy, and that's Electro Duplicate. It lets you create a token of a creature, and you have to sacrifice it, not with the Master, and on top of that, it has Flashback to make your best threat again. Landfall didn't need any more toys, but they got one. It's Grappling Kraken. When a land ETBs, you get to tap creatures down and put a stun counter on them. Your opponents can't play. Move over Platinum Angel. I've got the better version, Herald of the Eternal Dawn. It may have more white pips, but you can play it with Flash and save yourself by the skin of your teeth. Did Red need more damage multipliers? I think so. We got another with Twin Flame Tyrant. You can cheat this creature in and double some damage. Make Medusa proud with Ophelia Viper Whisperer. This Gorgon Assassin has Death Touch and lets you make snakes. Whenever a snake or a Gorgon deals combat damage, a player's going to lose half their life. Everybody hates the elf deck, and I know why. It's because of cards like Dionysus, Elvish Archdruid. It's going to allow your mana dorks to tap twice and make them huge. Like we needed another Impact Tremors in the command zone. We got one with General Crete, the Boltbringer. He also makes bodies to deal some more damage. Move over Ragavan. We've got the better version of you, Rev Tithe Extractor. It's going to give creatures Death Touch and let you steal cards from the top and let you play them for longer and give you treasures still. Who would have thought a life game payoff and an overrun effect in the command zone would be super busted? We've got one. Qualla, a Johnny's Pride Mate. You gain life, you get counters, and when it attacks, all your other creatures get huge. If you want to use crop rotation every turn, you're a true savage, and I love it, and you can do it with Elvish Reclaimer. You can sack a land, search your library for one, put it on the battlefield. If you want to combine Simic with poison counters and make the most annoying deck possible, you can do it with Azuri, Stalker, or Spheres. When it ETBs, you get to proliferate twice. There's a reason Survival of the Fittest is a few $100s, because it's good. You can get the same effect with Fauna Shaman. Discard a creature card, search your library for the best one. Which one are you grabbing? Infinite Creature sounds like a fever dream. You can make it happen with Ivy Lane Denizen. Whenever another green creature ETBs, you get to put a counter on a creature. Go infinite with Scurry Oak. Do you believe in the Orzhov Elves? I do, because I see Minthara, Merciless Soul. This experienced counter commander makes your army huge, and it's super hard to remove with Ward. Do you want to make your treasure tokens even better? Run Crime Novelist. When you sack an artifact, you make this guy bigger, and you get some red mana. Move over, Berkey. Graveyard Recursion never felt so good in mono red. With Goblin Engineer, you're going to be able to loop artifacts in and out of the graveyard, and you get to tutor one to the graveyard. It's a win-win. Cheating mana is super fun. We can do it with Goblin Lackey. This 1/1 for 1, when it connects, lets you put the biggest, baddest goblin from your hand directly into play. Do you want to waste 30 minutes looking through your deck? You can do it with Goblin Recruiter. He's going to let you pull out every goblin you want and then put them on top in any order you want. It's a fun time. Step 1, play Sack Outlet. Step 2, cast First Day of Class. Step 3, Profit with Murder's Redcap. This guy's going to deal infinite damage with that combo in play. Make your opponents take double damage with Blast Furnace Hellkite. You can cheat it out with Artifact Offering, and all creatures that attack your opponents have double strike. Who wants extra everything? You know I do. With Bonehorde Dracosaur, you can make it happen. You get to Impulse Draw, you make dinosaurs and treasure tokens. Move over Gonti, we got your replacement, Brainstealer Dragon. This dragon's gonna let you steal cards from the top of every opponent's library at your end step, and you get to play those cards, and then they lose life if you play them. Great news, we've got another dragon that just loves treasure tokens. That's Cavern Horde Dragon. You can cheat it out against the Brea player, and when it connects, you make a ton of treasures. If you want to make a dragon every turn, Daddy's got you with Dragon Broodmother. It's gonna make you a 1/1 dragon at every upkeep. You're gonna have so many dragons, you'll be dragging the game out. If you just love little guys, you'll love Basking Broodscale. It's gonna allow you to make a ton of Eldrazi spawn, and you can go infinite with Rosy Cotton. Trust me, opponents love it when you steal cards off the top of their deck and you steal their win condition. You can do it with Bismuth Mindrender. Does just that, and you get the Bolas Citadel pay life effect. Bring the end to your friendships with Endbringer. You can tap this guy at every turn, and on top of that, you're gonna remove every single elf they have. Sorry, Lathril players. Just steal your opponent's commander with Flayer of Loyalties. It's gonna allow you to gain control of a creature. It's gonna give it Annihilator, make it huge, and probably KO somebody. And it's not even your creature. Do token decks bring you down? You bring them down with Void Winnower. Their tokens can't block, and they can't cast spells that are even. Goad with the flow with Furcrag Cunning Instigator. He's gonna make your opponent's creatures attack, and when they do, he gets huge, and you get some cards. Move over Sneak Attack. I've got the Commander Special, Hellkite Courser. Say your Voltron Commander costs too much to cast again? Cheat it out and get in for that lethal. Can you make 20 treasure tokens in a single turn? If you can, run Hellkite Tyrant. He's just gonna win you the game. He's also gonna steal your opponent's artifacts so they have no mana rocks. Prosper got a new toy in March of the Machines. That's Hoarding Broodlord. It's gonna allow you to tutor a card, and then every card you cast from exile has Convoke, so you can cheat them in quick. We've got big mana in the house with Cloth Unrivaled Ancient. When it attacks, you're gonna get a ton of mana based on the total power of attacking creatures, and use that to cast some powerful spells. Your opponents don't need a board. We can make that a reality with Cruel Reality. It's gonna make them sacrifice a creature during their upkeep, and if they can't, they lose some life. Doubling damage is a powerful effect in Magic. Let's make it happen for just one player with Curse of Bloodletting. Everybody who attacks that player is gonna make them take double damage. Imagine a world where Arcane Laboratory only affects one person. That's Curse of Exhaustion. That player can only cast one spell each turn. They're not winning the game, and you're probably still not going to win because you're playing a curse deck. If you want to get friendly, run Curse of Obsession. It's going to allow that player to draw 2 additional cards, but they don't have a hand at the end of their turn. Let's shut down one player like a restaurant with a health code violation with Overwhelming Splendor. Their creatures are all 1/1s and have no abilities, and they really can't activate abilities. They're not going to win. I had no clue that Arcbound Ravager was actually a beast. This little artifact guy's going to let you sack artifacts to put counters on them, and it has Modular 1 to move some counters around. Lands decks are too powerful. This beast, Cultivator Colossus, proves it. When it ETBs, you can put a land from your hand on the battlefield, draw a card, you can keep repeating the process and put all your lands into play. Who knew that beasts love ETBs? Displacer Kitten definitely does. When you cast a non-creature spell, you get a blink a creature to keep reusing those ETBs. Great news, we're featuring an I Win the Game cards with Felidar Sovereign. At your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. Pretty darn easy in Commander. Move over Drain Life. I've got your better beastie brother, Fell Beast of Mordor. It's got Devour at 1, and when you sack a ton of creatures, some opponent's gonna lose a ton of life, and you'll probably knock them out of the game. Stop the madness or don't. You've got Bone Miser in play. You probably shouldn't stop. Every time you discard a card, you can get insane value with this guy, whether it's a zombie creature, mana, or cards. Let's add some mini games to our Commander game with Custody Lich. When it ETBs, you become the Monarch, and when you become the monarch, somebody sacrifices a creature. We all know infinite combos are for cowards, and of course I'm a coward, so I run Gravecrawler. You can keep casting this guy from the graveyard as long as you have a zombie, combine that with a sack outlet and a drain effect, you'll win. We all love land destruction. Helldozer's probably the best zombie at it because it can destroy a target land, and if that land was non-basic, you can do it again. Does your graveyard deck need a win condition? We've got one with Lotlith Giant. When he ETBs, it's going to deal 1 damage to an opponent for each creature card in your graveyard. That's going to be some big damage. Are you tired of facing down Spellslinger decks? Teach them a lesson with Errasta of the Endless Web. When they cast an instant or sorcery, you get a spider. Do you want 2 Smothering Tides in play to get a ton of treasures? You can make it happen with Calyx Guided by Fate. When it or an enchanted creature deals combat damage, you make a token of an enchantment you control. I'm sick of Craterhoof Behemoth. I need a better answer. I've got Demolisher Spawn. Does something very similar if you're a graveyard deck, make all of your creatures huge and win through combat. Stop blue players with Fate Unraveler. They're going to draw a ton of cards, they're going to take a damage for every single one of them, and they're not going to get the draw cards because they'll lose the game. If you believe a deck should only win through a combo, run Fear of Sleep Paralysis. Attacking decks won't get to attack because you're going to stun counter them out. Let's get some extreme card advantage with the Traxa Grand Unifier. When this ETBs, you're going to look at the top 10 and get one of each type. You blink it, you keep doing it. Big Worm Alert, we've got Defiler of Vigor. It's going to reduce your spells and put counters on all your creatures so you can go super tall. Move over Counterspell. I've got a counterspell we can keep in the command zone. Urtai the Corrupted. You can sack a creature or an enchantment to counter a spell. If you hate Voltron, I've got the commander for you. Greven Predator Captain. He'll make you love Voltron because you can sack creatures for insane card advantage and get in for lethal. Move over Birthing Pod. I got the Phyrexian version of you. Ketek Crucible Goliath. At your end step, you're going to get a sack a creature and find one with lesser mana value off the top, put it into play. It's going to take 20 minutes to end your turn. Move over Turgid. I got the new discard god, Aklazot's Deepest Betrayal. It's got flying lifelink and it makes opponents discard and you get bats or cards. Either way, it's a win. Make Aristocrats repeatable with Athreos God of Passage. Whenever another creature we own goes to the graveyard, you can get it back to your hand unless an opponent pays 3 life. Make Walking Ballista even better with Heliod Suncrowned. It's going to be an infinite combo because the lifelink is going to make you keep putting counters on it so you can deal a ton of damage. If you like to win through combat damage, you're a filthy casual, but you should run Erois, God of Victory. It's going to give your creatures menace and prevent all damage to them so those attacks go through. Sorry, I was kidding. Turgid is the real discard god because this card wins games. Either you're going to win when this comes down or you're going to get ran out of your town, city, state, or country. Either way, something big's going to happen. If you want a board wipe and an overrun in your command zone, run the original Elish Norn Grand Cenobite. You thought I'd pick Mother of Machines, but I'm here with the OG mommy. There is no better feeling than getting your commander out turn 1 with Dark Ritual. That's why I love Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. He's going to make our opponents attack each other so they can get cards. We can also steal cards from our opponents. I hate it when my opponents have answers. That's where Jin-Gitaxias Core Augur comes in. They're not going to have a hand, and we're going to have all the cards. Let's turn Group Hug into Group Slug with Shielder of the Apocalypse. Whenever we draw cards, we gain life, and when our opponents draw cards, they're going to lose the game. If you believe your opponent shouldn't cast any spells, Vorinclex is the Praetor for you. We can tap our lanes and get double mana, and their lanes don't untap. Are you tired of graveyard decks and Spellslinger decks? Stop them both with Bloodchief Ascension. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, they're going to lose 2 and you'll gain 2. Make Manarok's the king of any game with Desolation. At the end of each turn, if a player tapped a land for mana, they sack a land. And if it's a plains, they lose some life. Guess what? You can play Chaos without red. That's Endless Whispers. Whenever a creature hits the bin, you can put it under an opponent's control. Build up your buddies and tear down your enemies. If you like making your opponent squirm, play Painful Quandary. Whenever they cast a spell, they lose 5 life or discard a card. It's a hard choice for them. Are you sick of go-wide strategies? You can shut them down with Spreading Plague. Whenever a creature comes into play, you destroy all other creatures that share a color with it. And they can't be regenerated. Have you ever had a dream where you destroyed all non-creature permanents? You can make it reality with Chain of Acid. It's going to allow you to destroy a target non-creature permanent, and then that permanent's controller can copy it, and we can destroy everything. Let's give a generous gift to our opponents with Dubious Challenge. It's going to let you look at the top 10 cards of your library, pick out 2 creatures. An opponent gets the best one, you get the second best. Clogged board states cause long games. We can end them with Predatory Focus. We'll allow our creatures to deal combat damage as if they weren't blocked. Set back the arch enemy with Stunted Growth. It's going to make that player put 3 cards from their hand on top of their library. You know where they're going to draw the next 3 turns. Commander players are way too greedy. We can punish that greed with Wave of Vitriol. It's going to make them sack all artifacts, enchantments, and non-basic lands, and see how many basics they actually have in their deck. Move over, Tyrant. I've got the better Drake Commander, Alonda Skydreamer. When you draw your second card, you get a Drake, and when you draw your 5th card, Drakes get huge, and you win. If your blue deck wants to win through combat damage, more power to you. Combos are unfair. Deep Channel Mentor will help you with that strategy. Your blue creatures will be unblockable. If your playgroup's playing some pretty cool commanders, steal them with Empress Galena. You can tap it to gain control of a target legend. They don't get their commander, and you have all the fun. Basic lands deserve more love. Let's make it happen with Harbinger of the Seas. Non-basic lands are islands. Punish your playgroup and punish them for being greedy. Do you hate it when your opponents get to play spells? I know I do. play Law Mage Mentor. When you counter spells, you get merfolk, and you can tap those merfolk to counter more spells to get more merfolk. It's a chain. Do you pay the one is the most annoying phrase in all of Magic the Gathering. Let's make it really matter with Aether Barrier. Whenever a player plays a creature spell, they have to pay an additional 1. Turn tap down effects into removal with Dismiss in the Dream. It's going to turn all of our opponent's creatures into illusions. When they become targeted, they sack them. If you love 5-hour games, I've got the card for you, Ice Cave. Whenever a player plays a spell, any other player may pay that spell's mana cost and counter it. Nobody gets to play. So a little birdie told me you like 5-hour games. That's why I also included Telepathy. Your opponents play with their hands revealed. There'll be decision paralysis for days. Sorry, Telepathy, I know I just hyped you up, but Zur Weirding's way better. Players play with their hands revealed, and if a player would draw a card, you can pay 2 life and put it in their bin. Or Kindred decks bringing you down, you bring them down with Onzarin Runes. You choose a creature type when it comes into play, and creatures of the chosen type don't untap. Sorry, Markov players. Let's get weird, my fellow freaks, with Brand of Ill Omen. This creature enchantment makes it so they can't cast creature spells. So weird. Thanks, Homelands. I've got some Dragon tech right here with Mudslide. Creatures without flying don't untap during the controller's untap steps. They can pay some mana and untap them, but are they really going to do that? Sorry, Urbrask, I've got the original. It's Uphill Battle. Creatures your opponents control come into play tap. Super simple, super annoying. Did you know War Tax has an alternate dimension version? That's War Cadence. Same thing, but creatures can't block instead of attack. Which is better? I think this one is in red. If you're getting rocked by mana rocks, run Damping Field. It's going to only allow 1 to untap during each player's untap step. No huge turns for you. Consequences are a fact of life and of EDH. Karmic Justice shows that. Whenever a spell or an ability an opponent controls destroys a non-creature permanent you control, you can destroy one of their permanents. I'm always picking lands. Move over, Grave Pact. I've got the white upgrade, Martyr's Bond. Whenever another permanent we control is put into the graveyard, each opponent sacrifices a permanent that shares a type with it. There is no better feeling than shutting down a fair combat-focused deck. You can do it with Mystic Barrier. It's going to allow players to attack to the left or right, and you can change it during your upkeep. If you want a recurable board wipe for your Lurrus deck, run Serenity. This 2-mana enchantment is going to destroy all artifacts and enchantments during your upkeep. Let's make hand disruption good in EDH with Gaslight of Fugue. This 4/4 is unblockable, and whenever it connects with a player, you pick a card from their hand and they exile it. If you're jealous of the cards your opponents are playing and want to play them yourself, try Mnemonic Betrayal. It's going to exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards, and we can cast those cards and spend mana as though it was any type. Move over, Narset. I've got the original, Notion Thief. If our opponents would draw a card except the first one they draw, we get to steal that draw instead, and we're going to have all the advantage. Playing lands is a fundamental part of Magic. Let's benefit from that with Sire of Stagnation. Whenever a land ETBs under an opponent's control, we exile the top 2 cards of their library and we draw 2 cards. Token decks are becoming a staple in EDH. Let's shut them down with Vile Consumption. All creatures have at the beginning of your upkeep, sack this creature unless you pay 1 life. Would have thought Ice Age gave us such a gem like Altar of Bone. Lets us sack a creature and we look through our library, tutor a creature right to our hand. Let's make our opponent sweat by turning every creature in the Reclamation Sage with Aura Shards. Whenever a creature ETBs, we can destroy an artifact or enchantment. If you're a fan of creature combo decks, I've got the best card, Congregation at Dawn. Lets us search your library for 3 creatures and put them on top of our library in any order. We're going to win the game. Are you sick of Elf Ball? I know I am. We can shut them down with Dueling Grounds. No more than 1 creature can attack each turn, and no more than 1 creature can block. No token armies coming at me. Players love it when you board wipe on every one of your turns. We can make it super easy with Nova Blast Worm. When this 7/7 attacks, destroy all other creatures. There is nothing more divisive in EDH than I win the game cards. I've got one for you, Azor's Elocutors. As long as it says 5 filibuster counters on it, you're gonna win the game. If creatures are your jam, run Dubscape. Nobody can cast a non-creature spell because they're gonna get a bunch of 1/1 birds. No counter spells, no removal. Move over, Humility. I've got the budget option, Godhead of All. Other creatures are 1/1s. Nobody's gonna win the game except for you with this 4/4. Combo decks can win the game out of nowhere. We can shut them down with permission denied. We counter a non-creature spell, and our opponents can't cast non-creature spells for the rest of that turn. Since Shahrazad is banned, I've got a replacement for you sickos, World Purge. Return all permanents to everybody's hands, and they only get to keep 7 cards. Hopefully he kept some lands. If you despise one player in your pod, I've got the perfect card that's Captive Audience. That player's gonna have a life total of 4, discard their hand, and all their opponents will get a 2/2 black zombie army. Do you despise treasures just as much as I do? Then I've got the perfect hate card, Corrosion. It's gonna make sure that no treasures exist on your upkeep, and it also hits Soul Rings. If you thought game changes were annoying, I've got a card that puts them to shame. Den of the Fireherd. It's going to give you an elemental body, and it's going to make all opponents sacrifice their creatures and lands. Do you despise long games and want them short and sweet? Run Havoc Festival. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they're going to lose half their life, rounded up. that means everybody's losing. Discarding normally isn't that powerful, Commander, but discarding at random really upsets the players and makes the salt flow. That's why you run Skull Rend. It's going to deal 2 damage to each opponent, and they each discard 2 cards at random. If you can't beat an Aristocrats deck, try Assault Intercessor. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, that player loses 2 life. No more Gravecrawler combos. If you love tokens and blowing up artifacts and enchantments, I've got the card for you, Blot Out the Sky. It's going to allow you to create a bunch of Inklings, and then if you pump a bunch of mana into it, you destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents. Move over Heroic Intervention. I've got the Orzhov version, Cauldron Haze, which uses any number of target creatures and the game persists until end of turn. Those board wipes aren't hurting us. I've got a card that's both terrible and annoying. It only affects one player, that's Identity Crisis. Remove all cards in target player's hand from the game and exile their graveyard. They're not going to win. I've got some tech for the new Timid, that's Necromancer's Covenant. When it comes into play, it's going to exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard and we get a ton of zombies. It also gives our zombies lifelink. Sneak Attack sucks if you have no cards in hand. Let's try Killer Instinct. Does the sneak attack thing, but from the top of your library. Probably still sucks, and that makes it annoying because it's never going to work how you want it to. Are you tired of your Voltron commander getting chump blocked? Let's change it around with Mage Slayer. Whenever that equipped creature attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. Damage is getting in. Next up, we have the Temu version of Craterhoof Behemoth. That's Pyrewood Gearhawk. When this ETBs, other creatures get +2/+2 and gain Menace and Vigilance. If you love tokens and flooding the board with permanents, try Sarenth Great Worm. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, doesn't matter whose land, you get a Power Stone token. Let's shut down Blue's greatest strength with Vexing Susher. It can't be countered, and we can make our spells not be countered. Everything we cast will resolve. The Lieges have a bad rap. Let's change it with Balefire Liege. Whenever you cast a red spell, you're going to burn a player out. Just keep casting red, keep winning. I say get your Unfinity out of my commander. But with Comet Stellar Pup, I'll make an exception. This annoying card makes you roll 6-sided dice, and you have some weird effects that can win games. Surprise your opponents with an instant board with 4th Aerolingus. You're going to make a ton of human knights with Trample and Haste. You also can become the Monarch and get some card advantage in Boros. If you despise winning through combat, try Power Stone Minefield. Whenever a creature attacks or blocks, Power Stone Minefield deals 2 damage to it. That makes combat quite tricky. If stalled board states have you down, try Taunt from the Rampart. It's going to go to all creatures your opponents control, and until your next turn, those creatures can't block. You're getting through, and they're getting through on all of your opponents. I think everybody's conditioned to the clockwise turn order. Let's turn it on its head with Aeon Engine. It just reverses the turn's order. It's basically like getting an extra turn. Sorry, 10th Doctor, I'm going to shut you down with Eon Hub. Players skip their upkeep steps. No upkeeps, no time counters getting removed. Step 1, play Urborg, Tomb the Yawgmoth. Step 2, play Cormer Spell. Step 3, play a one-sided board wipe. Step 4, you win. They won't have resources, you have all the lands. If you want Blind Obedience in your red deck, I've got you with Orb of Dreams. Permanents come into play tapped. That's all it does. Simple artifact, big pain. If you like playing games where nobody does anything, you'll love Possessed Portal. Players don't get to draw cards, and on top of that, they have to discard a card from their hand or sacrifice a permanent. If you really like your opponent's fancy artifact, just steal it with Dak Faden. It does give you a Faithless Looting effect. I don't care about that. I'm stealing your permanents. When you generate a ton of mana, you gotta dump it into something, right? Let's try Epic Experiment. You're gonna exile the top X cards of your library and cast all the instants and sorceries and probably win the game. Are unreliable Planeswalker Ultimates your favorite thing? Then try Ral Zarek. You get to flip 5 coins and you take an extra turn for every flip that comes up heads. Do you want to play with banned cards? Then try Storm the Vault. This does something on the front, but when you flip it over, you get Tolarian Academy, the best land for an artifact deck. Move over, Young Pyromancer. I have the upgrade. 3rd Path Iconoclast. This triggers every time you cast a non-creature spell, and you get a 1/1 soldier. If you don't like interacting with your opponents and still want to win, try Biovisionary. If you've got 4 of these guys in play, you'll win the game. So clone, clone, clone. Are you an Enchantress player that wants to run Birthing Pod? Shame on you, but you can make it happen with an Enigmatic Incarnation. Does the Birthing Pod effect just for enchantments. What nasty enchantments are you getting? Your opponent's commanders are so much better when they're an elk. You can do that with Oko, Thief of Crowns. You can turn an artifact or a creature into an elk. I know you monsters love I win the game cards. That's why you have Simic Ascendancy. Whenever you put counters on your creatures, you get counters on this, and when you have 20 or more, you win. I hope you're just like me and love playing with your opponent's cards. You can do it in Simic with Volt 87 Forced Evolution. You steal one of their creatures, make it a mutant, draw a ton of cards from it, then sacrifice it. Move over, Soul Shatter. I've got your better Mardu brother, Crackling Doom. Does the same thing. Each opponent's going to sacrifice their best creature, and it also deals 2 damage to add insult to injury. Here we've got Ishin's favorite toy, Fervent Charge. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Make your army huge and crash in for victory. If you think Cataclysm's a little too fair, run Mythos of Snapdax. Does the same thing, but you get to choose the permanents, and I promise you're going to get to keep your best ones. If your deck has a full graveyard and a ton of ETBs, try Offspring's Revenge. It's going to allow you to exile one of those creatures from your graveyard and make a 1/1 copy, so those ETBs are still going to hit tough. Let's send our opponents back to the Stone Age with Ruinous Ultimatum. It's going to destroy all non-land permanents our opponents control. They'll have nothing, we'll have everything. If you want a card that does it all, try Birth of the Imperium. It's going to give you an army of 2/2s. It's going to make opponents lose creatures and draw you a ton of cards. That's a win, win, win. Do you like cards that scale with the game? Try Dakon Shadowslayer. It comes with loyalty equal to the number of lands you have. You can exile creatures and cheat artifacts in. I'm cheating Portal Phyrexia. Actually, I'm going to cheat on our next one, Magister Sphinx. When this ETBs, target player's life total becomes 10. Good luck to them. They're not going to win. Do you like combos? Then you'll love Thopter Foundry. You can sacrifice non-token artifacts to make Thopters, but you compare that with Sword of the Meek and KCI, you're going to win the game. Move over Vindicate. Your time is done. We've got Void Rend. Does the same thing, except it's an instant, and it can't be countered. It's the best of the best. Commander players are too greedy and don't want to play basic lands. Let's teach them a lesson with Destructive Flow. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-basic land. Basics are king. Does your sacrifice deck run out of steam late in the game? Let's change that with Dragon Appeasement. Whenever you sack a creature, you may draw a card. You skip your draw step though, but you're going to sack so much you'll draw a lot. Lands are not sacred and neither are creatures. Let's destroy both with Earthlink. Whenever a creature is put into the graveyard from play, that creature's controller sacks a land. Board wipes suck if you don't have a follow-up play. Gluttonous Hellkite gives you that. It makes each player sacrifice a ton of creatures, gets huge, and you have a huge beatdown threat. Some players hate thinking. That's why they play mono green. Let's make them think with Misfortune. They get to choose if your board gets big or their board gets small. Either way, it's a win. Sorry, Theros, I've got the original Godsire. This big beast makes 8/8 creatures. You can keep on tapping him, keep making creatures, you'll probably win. Does your Timmy deck need a win con? I've got it. My L's area. If you got big creatures, you win the game. I don't care about the other text. I want to win. I hope your opponents have a counter spell ready because when Realm Razor hits the board, all lands leave play. Good luck casting anything, and that game's going to take 5-6 hours. Hope you're ready. If you think Lightning Bolt needs an upgrade, I've got the card for you. Tamanoa. Whenever a non-creature source you control deals damage, you gain that much life. Basically gives the stuff lifelink. Move over Overrun. I've got the upgrade. Titanic Ultimatum. It's going to make all of our creatures get +5/+5. Give them first strike, lifelink, and trample. That's a life point swing. If you like 2-for-1s, I got the card for you. It's Dark Intimations. It's going to make each opponent sack a creature and discard a card. You get a card back, and you draw a card. Opponents love it when you just take their cards. Trust me, I know it's true. And Darkness bind them, it allows you to do that, and you get a ton of raise. You got an instant board. I win the game cards cause so much controversy. I don't see why, you just won the game. With Nicole Bolas Dragon God, ignore all their text, do the ultimate, win the game. Let's do what Grixis does best and make our opponents think with Prince of Thralls. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls gets put into the bin, you get that card unless they pay 3 life. They lose life or you get cards. Guess what? We're going to keep stealing with the Horus Heresy. It's going to allow us to steal a creature from each opponent, then we draw a card for each of those creatures, and then we get to destroy a ton of creatures. That's a blast. Landfall decks always have the best toys. That's where Dragonback Assault comes in. It's going to be a board wipe, and every time you play a land, you get a 4/4 flyer to win the game. Move over Anointed Procession. I have the upgrade, Elspeth Stormslayer. Besides doubling tokens, it also makes tokens. These magic cards are starting to do too much. Do you want 3 Moonshaker Cavalries to hit the battlefield every combat? You can make it a reality with Mardu Siegebreaker. When this ETBs, you exile it, and then when you attack, you get 3 of them. Don't you hate it when your opponents have a ton of blockers? Let's change that with Rock Curse Rexasha. It's going to turn all those creatures into decayed creatures, and they can't block, and if they attack, bye-bye creatures. Come on, Watsy, you brought Storm back? What are you doing? But I still love it with Storm Scale Scion. This creature pumps all dragons, and it has Storm. Your dragons will get huge, and that might be a little too big. Does your Super Friends deck need a way to close out the game? Try Death Cloud. Your opponents won't have any cards, any lands, or any creatures. Your planeswalkers are safe, the ultimate. I know I'm sick of playing against blue decks, and I have a way to shut them down with Persecute. You choose a color, you look at that player's hand, and they discard all their blue cards. No counters, no shenanigans. If you're sick of fast games, try Pogs. Each player's going to lose their life, their cards, their creatures, and their lands, just a third of them, but that will make the game probably 2/3 longer. Time for a finisher, Torment of Hailfire. If you cast this, you're going to win. Each opponent's going to sacrifice a ton of things, discard a ton of cards, or lose all their life. You're winning no matter what. My worst fear is letting my opponents have fun. We can stop that with worst fears. You're going to control that player during their turn. You're going to destroy their permanents, tap down their lands, and cause chaos. Become the epicenter of pain with Epicenter. The target player just sacrifices a land, but if you have Threshold, all lands get sacrificed and nobody can play the game. Our treasure tokens ruining your playgroup, shut them down with Meltdown. You destroy each artifact with mana value X or less, pay 1 and get the soul rings too. This is the best card in Mono Red, Ruination. It just destroys all non-basic lands. Luckily you have mountains, and you still get to play, while nobody else does. Sorry basic lands, I'm going to destroy you too with Wake of Destruction. You destroy target land and all lands with the same name as that land. I'm going to choose an island. If you like the gamble, try Whims of the Fates. You're going to make each player put their permanents into 3 piles, and then one of them gets sacrificed at random. Piles can be 0 if you want to press your luck. Are you tired of engines winning the game and you losing? Switch that board around with Cultural Exchange. You take one person's value pieces and switch them for another, and you can probably win. If your opponent's about to win on their next turn, shut them down with Exhaustion. Creatures and lands target opponent controls do not untap during their next untap phase. Good luck on them winning. Teach to wait until I untap players a lesson with Fade Away. For each creature, that creature's controller sacks it or they pay 1. Most of them can't pay 1 for their token army. Can't afford Cyclonic Rift? Try Inundate. This card's going to return all non-blue creatures to their owner's hands. Hopefully you're not in a mirror match because it won't do anything. Since land destruction is frowned upon, how about we make it so those lands aren't usable? That's where mana vapors come in. That player's lands will not untap and they won't get a turn. Balance might be banned, but I have the answer. No, not this, but this. Balancing Act. Whoever has the least amount of permanents, everybody's going to have that amount. Whoever has the least amount of cards, everybody will have that amount. Guess what? We have the Fair Armageddon. Cleansing. All lands are destroyed, but players may pay life to keep their lands. If they're low on life, they have no lands. If they have a lot of life, they'll probably win. There's nothing like restarting the game. That's where Dimensional Breach comes in. You exile all permanents, then at the beginning of each upkeep, that player gets to put something back. If your opponent has a massive board and they're going to win on their next turn, stop them with False Peace. Target player can't attack on his or her next turn. That token army's not going to hit me. If you like spending 8 mana on a card that doesn't win you the game, try Reverse the Sands. It allows you to redistribute any number of players' life totals, so you can give somebody a ton of life and somebody no life. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guess what? It's time to mess with lands. We can do that with Freylee's Winds. Every time a permanent becomes tapped, it gets a win counter. When it has win counters, it doesn't untap. Kind of like a stun counter. I know land destruction's frowned upon, but let's build our own land destruction with 2 cards. One's a board wipe and the other's Nature's Revolt. All lands are 2/2 creatures. We can wipe out the lands and all the other creatures. Move over to Telepathy. We've got your answer in mono green. Revelation does the same thing. Everybody plays with their hands revealed. The game will go to a standstill. You're crazy if you thought the lands were still safe. That's where Ritual of Subdual comes in. All lands are just going to produce colorless mana now. Good luck casting anything unless you're an Eldrazi deck. Do you really want to board wipe every turn? I've got a conditional one, Tranquil Grove. You can destroy all their enchantments. You can do that every turn and nobody will get any enchantments if only it hit artifacts. If you love Blink decks, run Agent of Treachery. When it enters the battlefield, you gain control of target permanent, and if you control 3 permanents and you don't own them, you draw 3 cards. Do you want to send your opponent back to the Stone Age every combat? Run Cephalid Constable. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you return up to that many target permanents to that player's hand. That means lands can get hit too. You can make the game completely unplayable for your opponents with Fate Spinner. They have to skip their draw step, main phase, or combat phase. They really can't do much during their turns, and you're probably going to win that game. Move over, Scoot Swarm. I've got the best landfall piece, and it's in blue. Roll Elemental. Whenever a land ETBs, you steal a creature an opponent controls. They'll have no creatures, and you'll have them all. Make your Experiment Crotch deck even more degenerate with Sage of Hours. You can turn those +1/+1 counters into extra turns, and you'll lose all your friends. That's a win-win. If you ignore the new bracket system, try Demonic Hordes. You can tap it to destroy any one land. There is an upkeep cost, but you'll surely pay that to get rid of all the lands of your opponents. Speaking of land shenanigans, there's Herald of Leshrac. It has a cumulative upkeep. Those are usually bad. This one's good. You get to steal all the lands. You get to play and no one else does. When your opponents have answers, you probably lose the game in Commander, right? That's why you should try Locust Miser. Each opponent's hand size is reduced by 2. That means 2 less answers and 2 less chances of your threats getting removed. Move over, Lord of the Pit. I've got the True Lord, Lord of the Void. When this deals combat damage to a player, you exile the top 7 cards of that player's library, and you get a creature and put it right on the battlefield. Players having hands is overrated. That's where Scandalmonger comes in. Everybody can pay 2 into this guy, and somebody discards a card. Everybody's going to be top decking for that win. If you want to break the world record for the longest EDH game, try Bearer of the Heavens. This 10/10, when it dies, is going to destroy all permanents at the beginning of the next end step. There we go, 8-hour game. Are you sick of Simic landfall decks? Shut them down with Keldon Firebombers. This 3/3 when it enters the battlefield is going to make everybody sacrifice all their lands except for 3. We'll have the same lands even after they ramped. Stop the players that have the best lands in play with Orcish Settlers. You can sack this and pay some mana into it and destroy X target lands. I'm going to hit the Gaia's Cradles, the Cabal Coffers, etc. If you're sick of playing against those blue decks, try Stone Shaker Shaman. At the end of each player's turn, that player sacrifices an untapped land. No counter spells here. Guess what? We have more land destruction, you degenerates. I know you want it. With Tectonic Hellion. Whenever it attacks, each player who controls the most lands sacrifices 2 lands. Nothing like a little white Stax to endear you to your playgroup. That's where Angelic Arbiter comes in. Each opponent who casts a spell can't attack with creatures, and each opponent who attacked can't cast spells. If you don't have a few thousand to blow, try Magus of the Tabernacle. All creatures have at the beginning of your upkeep. Sack this creature unless you pay 1. Shut those token decks down. If you hate Timmies and they're big creatures and they keep beating you down, try Marble Titan. Creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap. Those creatures attack once, and they're done. If you enjoy giving yourself brain damage by reading your own cards, try Oracle and Veg. It makes an opponent choose creatures that attack. If they don't attack, they get destroyed. I'm just getting confused trying to read this. Do you pay the 1 is the most annoying phrase in all of Magic the Gathering, but we can make it even better with Spelltithe Enforcer. If they don't pay the 1, they sack a permanent. Turn your useless food tokens into something useful with Kodoltha Forge Master. You sacrifice the 3 foods, search the best artifact card out of your deck, and put it right onto the battlefield. What are you grabbing? Nothing like some light stacks to really make your artifact deck shine. That's where Lodestone Golem comes in. Non-artifact spells cost 1 more to cast. Those normal decks don't stand a chance. Sorry, Jin Gataxias, I've got the original Nullstone Gargoyle. Whenever the first non-creature spell is cast, counter that spell. That stops them artifacts, instants, sorceries, and planeswalkers. The best way to stop Stop Omniscience is a rug of smothering. Whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 1 life for each other spell they've cast that turn, no storming off for them. If you still play Voltron in 2025, I've got mad respect. That's where you need Silent Arbiter. No more than 1 creature can attack each combat, and no more than 1 creature can block each combat. Your big guy will probably get through. If you want Winter Orb in the command zone, you're my kind of player, but you're super sick. You can do it with Hikori Dust Drinker. Lands don't untap during the controller's untap steps, and they get to untap 1 land. Are you sick and tired of artifacts taking over your playgroup like treasure tokens? Stop them with Kataki War's Wage. At the beginning of your upkeep, all artifacts gain. Sacrifice this unless you pay 1. Sorry, Prosper players. There's no better feeling than a gotcha moment in a commander game. You can make it happen with Masako the Humorless. It has flash, and tap creatures you control may block as though they were untapped. Nobody's going to see this coming. If you hate getting attacked, grow up, or you can run Michiko Kondo True Seeker. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, that player sacrifices a permanent. That means they can sack lands too. Extra turn spells are overrated. I'd rather have my opponent skip their turn. You can do that with Yosei the Morningstar. When it hits the graveyard, target player skips his or her untap step, then you tap 5 of their permanents. I'm hitting their lands. Move for darkness, we have a more exciting answer in black. Hellish Rebuke. When those creatures deal damage to you, that player sacrifices them and loses 2 life. Your opponent might think good game when you have 1 black mana open, but you can change that with Reign of Filth. It allows you to sacrifice all your lands to get a mana burst and do some game-winning plays. Step 1, cast a board wipe. Step 2, hold priority and cast Shriveling Rot. Until end of turn, whenever a creature is put into the graveyard from play, that creature's controller loses life equal to its toughness. The other text does not matter. If you hate those overwhelming swings that knock you out of the game, try Sudden Spoiling. For 3 mana, all creatures target player control will be O2s and have no abilities, and you will easily block them or remove them. Send everybody back to the Stone Age with Volnus Hunger. It's going to make each opponent sacrifice half their creatures because of course you have the City's Blessing. You're a black deck, you play to the board. And if you don't, can you really call yourself a Magic player? That's why you should play these.